Welcome to The Secrets of Success. By following the proven techniques of the guests who appear on this series, you'll learn that even successful people run into detours and failures, and how you can apply their success techniques to change your life.
You're now listening to the most unique show on radio, the show dedicated to making you a success. Melissa Concessio asks, can you beat the attention span of a goldfish? Let's find out. Melissa, thanks for being on our show.
Thank you.
Melissa, what is this about a goldfish? Why are we competing with goldfish now? Don't we have enough problems?
Our attention spans, Bill, are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And now the goldfish has taken us over. They're faster. And
that's exactly a title for a book. I love it. The goldfish has taken us over. Once we know the goldfish have taken over, why fight it? I mean, they're friendly little goldfish. We've all had them. Let's join up with them. But is it that bad, really?
Yeah, it is. It is. There's so many things bombarding us today. We're constantly getting notifications from our phones. We cannot spend time on anything we want to. And that is the ultimate problem I want to highlight here. We don't have time for anything, and it's because of our attention spans.
And, of course, we like the combination with the goldfish, and it makes us pay attention. Now, you call it the new attention deficit economy. What does that really mean?
Okay. Sure. So it's related back to economics at the end of the day, because our resources are limited and means to satisfy our wants are scarce, right? So our resources in terms of human attention spans are a limited resource. And that's exactly what's happening today. The biggest thing, the most precious thing in the economy today is another human's attention.
I like that. The most precious thing is another. And of course, it's true, because if you get someone's attention, you want to sell them something, you want to tell them about your product, or just engage in an idea or meet them, a boy, a girl at college, etc. So that really, it makes a lot of sense to me. Now, for business people, though, how do short attention spans affect productivity and the people in the business world? Yeah.
So when you're having a meeting and you don't get somebody's attention right away, you've lost them. You're trying to make, $1 billion decisions. And there you are talking to someone who isn't listening. And that's the problem. And how it affects your personal productivity is that if you cannot focus on getting one thing done, it's exactly what Jim Rohn said a long time ago. You have foundations everywhere. You started it. You got foundations everywhere, but you have no building. And that's the problem.
I like that. I love everything you're saying. Each of your statements is the title, seriously, for another book. Foundations everywhere, but no buildings. You have to read on and find out more. And that's exactly, what do they call it, an elevator pitch. That's really just perfect. What are some of the toxic distractions that stop most people from getting what they want, whether it's to meet that person across the room or to make a sale or buy a car?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So one of the biggest distractions that I see for a lot of people today is clutter. It's mental clutter. When you cannot concentrate on something, it doesn't matter what's happening out there. If your mindset is filled up with 10,000 things, you're not concentrating. And the biggest problem for people is mental clutter. There's physical clutter as well, and we all know how to deal with that. There's been years of that. But the problem today is mental clutter.
Well, I go along with you, and I don't usually say this with every question, but I know I'm a physical clutter person. And I've gone to a bookstore and bought a book and come home and go, wait a minute, I already have that book. Why did I buy it? And that's because I have too many books. And why am I saving them? Oh, this is good, and I've got to read that before I die. Well, you better do it quick, right? I mean, to me.
Yeah.
But but so I can appreciate it. And of course, we get all these emails, we get notifications, we get pings. Sometimes I'm playing golf, I'm about to putt, I get a ping, and now I've interrupted two things. You mentioned dope drivers, and at first when I read that, I thought, are you talking about dopey ones? Are you talking about drivers on dope? So tell us what that means. What do you refer to when you say a dope driver?
Yeah, so dope drivers are the things that trigger dopamine in our brains. Now, traditionally, if you dopamine's not necessarily bad. What's bad is our addiction to it. We've pretty much become addicts at this point, and I'll tell you why. dope drivers are things that trigger this chemical in your brain where you just feel good, right? And rats were given dopamine hits in labs, and they found as soon as the rat gets a dopamine hit, it wants some more. That's exactly what's happening with notifications. That's exactly what's happening with checking our emails. And when you get that dope hit, you want more, and you go for more. And that's exactly what we're doing. Like the rats, we're scratching for more and more information all the time. And that's the problem.
Now, I was going to say something, and of course I realized where I got it from because I read an article from you. Is this like playing the slot machines in Las Vegas?
Yes, absolutely. So the slot machines, they are by design to make you feel good when you pull that lever down. And you wouldn't guess, people who have actually created these applications have that in mind. They know that we've got dopamine drivers in our brains. They have all the research, and they've actually created by design to excite that in our brains so we go back for more, pull that refresh button down, and see more information.
You know, the first time, I'm not a gambler, but I did visit Las Vegas and gambling parlors once or twice, and I was amazed from a business viewpoint how smart they were. They made it dark. You didn't have to leave the table. And even before we really got into all these sounds and noises, you could sit there and get free drinks. And people would come by and give you free cigarettes when in the smoking area, etc. And how smart they were. Once they got you in that chair, they didn't want you to move. They wanted you happy. Mm-hmm. And I guess they almost self-hypnotized. Now, how does this combine with, you know, people are very proud today. I'm multitasking. I'm doing 19 things at once. Talk about that for us and the role of multitasking in this picture.
Yeah, sure. So I remember, you know, when I first graduated and I was looking for jobs and they said, oh, we want your multitasking skills. It was the number one skill, you know. And when I went into an interview, they're like, oh, you know, are you a good multitasker? And I responded, no, I'm not. Multitasking is not made for humans. Okay, the way we operate, it doesn't make sense to multitask because what it means is you're switching your brain off and you're switching your brain on again. You're starting and stopping. If you haven't automated the first skill, you cannot do another skill on top of it. That means you're doing two things badly. And I said, I don't do two things badly, so I don't multitask. I finish one thing off and then I do another thing. And then she was baffled. She's like, we love you. So yeah, that's my story about multitasking.
And of course, that's just you, but we're actually hearing it on The Secrets of Success, my show here. We've been on for 33 years, and we've heard this time and time and time again. And you think it would kind of sink into people, and they're very proud of that. They're smoking, driving the car, talking to the children, have the radio on, and they're recording a song for their new album. And I'm saying, you know, I freely admit, like you, I cannot do all those things. I would rather do one or two things correctly, move on to the next. And again, you know, we deal with, as you said, productivity. A lot of business people. I know people, they sit in a meeting, and I've sat in meetings with some of them. They're very important meetings, high level, where what's being discussed, and you have people who are being paid a lot to be at these meetings, and they're reading a cell phone because their cleaner has 5% off if they bring in their underwear this week or their socks or something. And so I'm very much with you. We're definitely on the same page. Does this mean social media is bad? I mean, we're also addicted to it. You know, are you saying to us, cut it off?
Okay. So recently there's actually been a lot of focus on social media. There's been documentaries come out. There was news about a famous basketballer taking social media off his phone. And there's good reason for that. I think there's a balance. See, look, social media in itself is not bad. What's bad is our addiction to it. So as long as we can manage that, I think we're in a pretty good place. We don't have to give it up entirely.
So it's us. It's just like the television or the car. A car.
Exactly.
We could hate a car if it's hurt a friend of ours or hit our dog or something, but it's really the driver or someone who's done it. So I guess we have to look inward or look in the mirror before we can complain. Melissa, I'd like our audience to know that if you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Bill Horan. Our guest today is Melissa Concessio. And Melissa, please tell us about your website, because I think people are hearing this and saying, wait, I always felt that way, but I didn't know how to express it, and I wondered why I wasn't keeping up with all this multitasking. Where can we learn more?
Yeah, sure. My website is www.melissaconcessio.com. And my surname is Concessio. It's like the word concession, but without the N, in case you're wondering. And if you want to learn more about attention span specifically, just look me up on medium.com and you'll find the attention span, being shorter than a goldfish. Yeah.
And again, we love that title, and that's a great line to get people, I think, talking at any meeting, or if you're at a wedding and you don't know the people, just say, do you know people's attention span is shorter than a goldfish? That's got to get them going, and you've given us all the information.
Good conversation starter there.
Exactly. Now, can you tell us some of the research behind all these shortened attention spans? Because you seem like the expert on it, but where is this research coming in?
Yeah, sure. So there's been actually a lot of information and a lot of books out about how our ancient brains operate in modern technology. And it's a lot to do with distractions, and it's a lot to do with focus as well. So, if you just ask people, who's distracted more, a little child or an adult, they'll tell you, oh no, the little child is obviously distracted more. But the truth is that as adults, the two-way street doesn't work as well. What happens over time is that we cannot delete information as efficiently. And that is the research behind it, is that as we get older and we cannot delete information more efficiently, it means that our minds get full. And that's the research behind this all. Our minds are getting fuller and fuller.
And I will say, at least from my view, I would have said that absolutely, because I realize I can't keep all these things going. Maybe some people can. That's good for them. But even if it's a point if I have to jot things down or make a separate list, and I feel at least I'm accomplishing something, rather than saying, oh, I had 23 things to do, I've done 7 of them. Well, what'd you do with the others? Well, I forgot them. Well, now I'm in trouble. And maybe that's something, maybe it was pay a bill or call you or whatever, and it's something that's important. Yeah. Etc. What is the more time equals less productivity paradox? Now, that's something I think would confuse us all, because we would think, wait, if I have more time, that's better. I can get more done. But I think you're going to surprise us.
Yeah, I sure am, because the truth is if you give yourself or others, so even if you've got somebody else working for you, yourself or others, more time to finish off a task, the likelihood of procrastination during that period actually goes up, because you've got all these distractions in your way. So the more time you give, the more you're likely to stuff it up. And that's exactly what's happening. That is the paradox, that the more time, if you give somebody a shorter time period, the procrastination in that short time period is actually less, which means in today's short attention span economy, you're more likely to get it done in a short time frame than you are in a longer one.
And again, that's a question I think most of us would get wrong. But I remember back in the school days, if I had a lot of time, 4 weeks to do a term pay, I would start it. I was good about stuff like that. But then I would look and a classmate or a fraternity brother would spend 6 hours, the last 6 hours, the day before, and he or she would bat it right out. They would get the work done. And I probably took 10, 12, 15 hours because I dawdled. I wasted a lot of time in there. So, you make a great point for us, and I think you're going to shake up a lot of students now and realize they're going to the last minute, but that might be for the parents to worry about. I know you mentioned about us craving for attention. Now, what does this have to do with craving for attention? It would seem like it's taking us away to answer the phone and to read emails and to jump back and forth. But I know from your article that there's a point of about attention there, so can you explain that?
Yeah, sure. What's taking our attention away? So I met with a friend of mine. Within the first 2 minutes of meeting her, our coffees hadn't even arrived yet. Her phone was going ding, 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 ding. She had about 50 notifications while we were talking. Even I couldn't concentrate, and I didn't care about those notifications. I cannot imagine what was going through her brain.
What do we do? I mean, seriously, now
Yeah.
I'm interested in how you handle that, because here you are an expert. And
Yeah.
I would get very annoyed and say, either are you a doctor or do you have a family emergency? And legitimately, no, if your mom or your dad or your sister was in an accident or hurt, because when you get a lot of bings, it's like that phone call at 3 a.m. That
Yeah.
usually means something bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did you know whatever came out of that? Was it an emergency or something? For this person?
No, it was just a lot of extra applications that were on that send in push notifications. So some of them weren't even important. They were like, time to do blah, blah, things she didn't care about. Some email, some random thing where somebody liked a photo. I mean, who cares at that point? And she didn't care about that information, but she had just defaulted herself to receiving that information.
Do we see this as attention? It's like, let's use a man and woman. If an attractive person starts talking to me, hey, they're giving me attention. I must be somewhat special or important, or either that or I spilled something on my shirt because they're paying attention to me. Do we see the phone ringing and the emails pinging? Is that everybody likes me, I'm cool?
Yes, it is. It is absolutely. You hit the nail on the head when you said that, because it is exactly what it is. At the end of the day, I think what we're truly looking for is human connection. It's not so bad what's behind all of this. We're amazing beings. And what we're looking for is that connection and that love. And it's coming through via notifications. And so we think it's important, but it's actually we're looking for somebody to say, hey, what's up? I miss you. But that's not what's happening. There's a lot of information coming through that says, read this email or this marketing thing or, yeah.
And that's what I find I get. It's nice. It's cute. Puppies with their tail wagging, or they're into the whipped cream, or the cat who falls into a bowl of soup or something. But, after a while, how many of those do you need? Or airplanes from 1920 or funny scenes from the Old West. I look at them and I'm saying a lot of people must have a lot of free time that they can be sending me these things. And then why am I looking at them? Because I'm being geared by their free time, which, to me makes me feel that I'm not too valuable because I'm not controlling my own time. But you mentioned the attention advantage. What is that really?
Okay, so it's the new world of the deficit of attention spans means that people who can capitalize on this have the attention advantage. It means that if you can pay attention, if you can minimize those distractions, you can actually get more things done. And better yet, you can get the attention of other people too.
Now you're talking directly to me. Because I'm serious. I'm not just looking for your praise. I'm that person who, I don't care how much the phone rings, etc. If I'm doing something, I know, and maybe that's the reason, that I can only do one, maybe two things at most. I certainly can't multitask. And to me, it strikes me that if I answer the phone or get distracted by an email, now that's pulling my mind in another direction, assuming it's even reasonably important. And if it's not important, then I get angry at the email. Why are they writing to me? Yeah. I actually had a friend, an important lawyer, who was very happy to tell me that when he got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to use the restroom, he answered an email. And I thought that was the craziest thing in the world. I know he has health issues, and I'm thinking, isn't a good night's sleep more important than to wake yourself up? And if it's a negative email, and lawyers do important things, most times their emails are important. They're either going to say this is good or this is bad. Do you want to be on a high, even if it's good? And certainly, do you want bad news at 3 a.m. in the morning? You can't do anything about it till the morning anyway, till the next day anyway. So why would you want that? Do you find, though, you were lucky with that employer who recognized your ability not to try to handle too much or multitask? Do you find many people today are fascinated with the multitasking and they would want to know that you could do 8 things at once?
With every story, I think it depends on how you sell the story. If you tell somebody, oh yeah, no multitasking, and you don't give them an explanation, and they don't understand what's behind it. Obviously, it's not going to work. But I think most people are quite good with understanding that, okay, if I tell you that your brain switches off and it actually takes you longer to accomplish the task, people are fine with it. I think once it's knowledge, it's information, and understanding that and implementing it.
Like anything, you just put it out there and you're letting them know. And I would think when you give a talk to business people, are they very happy to hear this?
Yeah, they are, because it means that they're free to get more things done and they're not blaming things, I think it frees them up, if anything.
That's what I would think, too. And I would think, oh, my gosh, thank God someone's saying this, meaning you, a speaker who's researched this and knows the subject, because I'm thinking I'm inadequate because I can't do 8 things at once or talk on the phone, buy milk and, whatever.
We're pressurized to be in this position. And it's terrible because it's not even true if you look at the research. Yeah.
Right. No, that's right. And just what you said, we are pressurized. People feel it's cool or you're up to date to be able to do many things. I see people walking around with the headphone on to talk on their phone while they're walking through an office, allegedly writing something down on something else. At least for me, I know I would lose everything and I wouldn't make sense on the phone. I would screw up more things than I succeed with. Melissa, once again, we want our audience to know that you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Bill Horan. Our guest today is Melissa Concessio. She's telling us why you better get your time deficit better than a goldfish. And that was our introduction to Melissa's talk. Melissa, tell us, if people want to hear more about this, though, how to use their time properly and really, not just because it's a quick saying, multitasking, etc., but really get the most out of their day and be productive, where can they find your website?
Yeah, sure. My website is www.melissaconcessio.com, and you can also find me on medium.com, and my name's Melissa Concessio. The Concessio is like the word concession without the N.
Very good. You make it easy for us to remember that. Now, you're so good at it with some of your expressions, but if you were training a sales group, and they always want to get someone's attention. Now, you gave away one about the goldfish, so I'm sure everybody's going to be using that. But in general advice, what would you tell people if we want to get someone's attention? Is it to do like your friend did, get 20 pings on the phone till we answer it, annoy people with an email every 10 minutes, or what would you tell them?
Okay, sure. The best way to get somebody's attention is to give attention.
I like that. Yeah. Please tell us more. Talk about it.
Yeah, sure. It's a form of contribution without expecting anything in return. When you contribute your mind solely to listening to somebody else, that's when you truly get their attention. If you can dedicate yourself to just doing that, I don't like to make things complicated, Bill. If you just do that, you'll find things change in an instant. You'll find people paying attention to you just because in this world where this resource is so scarce, you spent your time in giving somebody else attention. And try this with the kids too. It works with kids as well. Do that for a second, do that for 30 days and come back and talk to me and tell me you won, because I'm sure you did.
I know it's going to work with my dog because he keeps pulling the handkerchief out of my pocket. He wants my attention, right? I mean, it's the same thing. And really, little children and animals are the same way. What do they do if they want to get you? They either bang on something or they know if they hit the wall or start painting on a door, you're going to, well, don't do that. They've got your attention, so it works. Really, there are so many gems we're getting out of this conversation today. I think I'm going to replay it and I take notes as the guest talks, but I think I'm going to replay it and just have a whole page of notes that I can use with people. Tell us from a business standpoint, when you're giving a talk, and obviously that's what you do, business people, it's nice to have someone's attention. It's nice for the boy, girl to meet each other, but they want productivity. How does this aid in productivity and also keep us happy during the day? What
businesses can leverage from this, I think one of the biggest time wasters in a business in terms of productivity are meetings. Hands down, meetings are the biggest, I can say, waste of time. And you've got thousands of dollars sitting in that room together. right? You invite 20 people, they paid this much an hour, there you go. It's out, right? And you do that on Zoom now. The problem is, if the meeting is not structured properly, firstly, you're losing people in terms of attention, right? And secondly, you're not getting things done. So I'll give you one productivity advice that you can take home and take home hard. And that productivity advice is structure your meetings to the T. And Jeff Bezos does this. Jeff Bezos was talking about how he's cut out PowerPoint presentations because it's a waste of time. Okay, who wants to go through 101 slides anyway? Write it like you're writing for a board, because board memos are very short, but treat every employee like that and use that in meetings and tell me if that improves your productivity.
I love that. And I think you'd get a vote for any office you run for if you would say shorten meetings. Because, really, I bet people applaud when you say that. Because we all go in and someone's talking and then someone wants to tell their own opinion on something and a funny story, almost like the email, the funny story that happened the night before. And we're listening while Jack or Sally are talking, and before you know it, 2 hours are gone. We really haven't. And when you are pointed and direct, you do get more done, because people say, what do we want in column 1, 2, or 3? Pick one, click. What are we going to go into the next one? It's a win across the board. And I think that's something. I'm just wondering, because Zoom is so popular today, do you find the Zoom meetings are better? Or is it since people are in their home, do they not care and they go 6 hours, or they realize, hey, time is money. I'm on Zoom. I will make it a 40-minute meeting rather than 2 hours.
I think there's a positive in the Zoom era because it's forcing us to make meetings shorter in a way, because we know we cannot fluff around. In person, if you're with somebody, you fluff around sometimes. But on Zoom, sometimes there's no element for that fluffing around, and you've got to keep it more on point. What we can do is train ourselves to use Zoom better, where the communication doesn't work as well as in person. But other than that, I think Zoom's working really well. And if we use that to accelerate, meetings, or purposefully make meetings shorter, I think it would be a plus for almost anybody who uses Zoom.
Melissa, I think this has been a great show, and not just because I'm on half of it, but because of what you're saying. You've taught us a lot of lessons, and I'm going to go be nicer to my dog and give him some attention so that he doesn't keep pulling on my pants. Before we wrap up, tell us again the website if people want to learn more.
Yeah, sure. It's www.melissaconcessio.com.
Melissa, we want to thank you and let our audience know that you've been listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan. Today you've been listening to Melissa Concessio. We ask you to please join us again next week at the same time when we will continue our journey to success.